This is the sixth installment of Introduction to Synthesizers, and in this part I'm going to look at vocoders and talkboxes. I decided to look at them at this juncture because in a sense they're a form of subtractive synthesis in that some of the harmonics are being removed from the original signal, so it's kind of billed under that heading. But we'll look at other processing equipment later on. Vocoders and talkboxes are very similar to each other in that they both process the sound from a synthesizer and attempt to put some kind of vocal modeling or vocal tract information onto the harmonics of the introduced signal. So in the case of a vocoder, it's using an electronic system to achieve this end result. And in the case of a talkbox, a tube is passed into the mouth of a singer and the vocal tract is used to wipe out some of the harmonics of the introduced signal with the end product that sounds very much like a vocoder. The name vocoder itself probably comes from the contraction of the words vocal and encoder, because the original use of vocoders, or the equipment that was like them, was used to encipher speech so that it couldn't be decrypted. But it's passed into music technology now and is used to achieve this vocalizing effect. More recently, you may have seen the microKORG flying around, which seems to be the latest keyboard that's carrying vocoders, and Korg themselves, the manufacturer, seem to be implementing this quite a lot. Previous incarnations have come from Roland and Moog, but the ones that I have at my disposal are made by Behringer and Zoom. The Zoom effect is on the 1204 unit, but I think can also be found on the 1201. There are other voice processing units around from Digitech and also Electro Harmonics that's produced specifically a vocoder, and other harmonizing equipment. In fact, that's another technique that's related to vocoders, is this kind of pitch shifting mechanism that's around in music technology these days, which self-corrects or quantizes the sound to the nearest note. I think the X Factor contestants got themselves into trouble when it was found out that this was being used in the program to correct the pitch. But it's actually being used by artists such as Cher on her track Believe to achieve a particular kind of effect, and those kind of vocal processing effects are coming into use quite a lot more now these days. On the older vocoders, you may have seen several different control knobs, perhaps 11 or 12 different rows of the same control. And the idea here was a bit like the graphic equalizer that we saw in the first couple of videos. The idea is to knock out certain bands of frequencies. In this case, the electronic vocoder is attempting to model the human larynx by use of things called formants. And the formants are the way in which the vocal characteristics of the human tract function. If you saw these like several channel controls on something like a Moog vocoder, the formants could be adjusted so that you got the best sound out of the vocoder. These days, in something like a processing unit, a rack processing unit, the whole thing is done for you. So though all of those frequencies are ranged, it's perhaps not the best method in that you can not have as much control as perhaps you might have done. But it's simple and effective. The end product sounds exactly like the vocoder effect. One thing you might find on a modern vocoder system is the introduction of a noise quotient. So several frequencies, random frequencies, are added to the vocoding signal so that there's extra information in the product that enhances the ability or intelligibility of the speech that comes out of the audio signal at the end. With respect to the talkbox, I've seen a lot of online references to Roger Troutman and the DX100. I love my DX100, and it's able to be used with the talkbox to get that Roger Troutman effect. In actual fact, I built a talkbox from scratch, which was very, very cheap, and it's quite possible to do that. And later on I'll play a track with that in so that you can hear the effect. People tend to be buzzing around trying to figure out the presets that you need to use with equipment to get the best out of vocoders and talkboxes. In general, it's something with a lot of harmonics in it, so something like a sawtooth wave, your string section, your brass sections. These will work well with vocoders and talk boxes. Just to make sure that you're able to follow what's being said by the vocoder, I've done two mixes, one with me speaking so that you can hear it, and the other one without the speaking in the mix.
This is a demonstration of a vocoder. This is a demonstration of a vocoder.
Hopefully we get the idea from that is that the end consequence is to make it sound like the synthesizer is speaking whatever words it is that the human vocalist chooses to say. The next example is of the Talkbox that I built for a few pence. You can find the details of this on the URL that's on the overlay. That was a little excerpt of 3 From You, which you can find as a free download along with all my other tracks online at the address that will pop up on the video. I hope that's given you some insight into vocoders and what they're for and what effects they produce, and we'll see you next time.